US has about 300 million people. I thought, wow, that's pretty good. And then when I went into the McKinsey Health Systems Institute, that was the globe, that was the world, and that's about 6 billion people. So that's the progression as I see it. How many people can I help create value for? Now obviously it's going to be incremental value on the larger number, but that's how I look at what I'm doing. And if we're successful at what we're doing today at moving the practice of medicine for uncomplicated problems, powered by technology to some degree, there's a lot of people that will benefit, particularly in areas of the US that are remote and in countries where people just cannot physically get to an in-person setting. So a lesson. I'm sure that I may never be asked back to talk again after I say a few of these things, but this is one person's opinion. Don't be well-rounded. Why do I say that? If you're a student or if you're in a career path, you know that as an employee, you have an annual appraisal or an annual evaluation. And what does that annual evaluation look like? Well, it's basically a list of here's all the things that you're really good at, and here's all the things that you really stink at. And what they do at the end of that evaluation is they put together an improvement plan. And what the improvement plan looks like is you need to spend some time doing all the things you stink at better in learning and attending courses and whatever so that you can be a well-rounded person. Is there anybody else in the room that thinks that's kind of crazy besides me? Why would you want to spend time doing things you stink at? Why would you not just spend all your time doing the things you're good at? If you're a musician, be the best musician you could possibly be. If you are a scientist, be the best scientist you could possibly be. I will tell you that well-rounded in this day and age is not necessarily the way to go. Focus, become the best in the business at what you do and and if you're passionate about it, all the better. If you're an artist, be an unbelievable artist. The people on the slide that I showed you, I guarantee you that they were not only not well-rounded, but they were totally off balance. And every one of them made a contribution to society that is beyond what you can imagine. Have well-rounded people made contributions? Absolutely. I'm just asking you to think about it in a different way. So what I've done is started with family medicine, and then moved into healthcare finance, and then moved into healthcare information technology. And now I'm focused with my medical background. I'm still responsible for the care given through our platform. But I am totally focused on getting people the care they need for things that would otherwise require them to leave work or school for half a day or more and get it done in 20 minutes so that they can stay productive. So I've got a small slice. I am not well-rounded. If you understand that today. Does that make sense to everybody? Why have I moved from a couple different companies? Well, I learned this thing called integrity and feedback. So integrity. Somebody define integrity for me. I promise to walk around. I'll walk around. Somebody define integrity for me. Oh, come on. Somebody know in the room what integrity is.
You live up to what you say you're going to do.
Live up to what you say you do. I like that. Somebody over here had a good
I was going to say act in accordance to your beliefs.
Act in accordance to your beliefs. I like that. Hi, everybody in the back. Now you're in the front. So you guys actually did a good job, and maybe there's a hint there. So when I look at integrity, it's not always telling the truth, or oh, that's part of it. When I look at integrity, this is a great way to size people up in business. It's also a great way to size people up in your personal relationships. And as I say this, some people will come to mind. Listen to someone long enough to understand how they think. Listen to what it is they say, and then watch what they do. The last one to me is the most important. I listen to people, blah, 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 blah. You remember Charlie Brown? When the adult talks, blah, 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 blah. That's what I hear when people talk to me. And then all I do is sit back and watch what they do. And if what they think, and then what they say, and what they do are all in alignment, to me that's a high integrity individual. I can watch what they do, listen to what they say, and now I know what they're thinking. That's a high integrity individual. If it's the truth and all that kind of stuff, that's great. And so part of the reason I have swapped companies a couple times is because I've gotten to know the founder of these companies or whatever, I'm not going to name names, and I'm starting to see things like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm watching what you're doing, and it's not lining up very well. We're going to fund this company, but what are you going to do with the money? And that kind of, those sorts of issues start to come up. I will say, I finally, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I finally picked a CEO who's really good, has high integrity. It took me about 5 companies to find him, but I did. So think about that when you think about your relationships. My definition of integrity. This is a really powerful tool, and I know I have an example that everyone in this room will be able to understand. Ask questions. The ability to get to the answer is completely predicated on asking the right question. The other thing about asking questions is it can be a very inoffensive way to probe and to learn. I think you're an idiot, Henry. Really? What do you mean by that? Right? How is it that I'm an idiot? What led you to believe that I'm an idiot, right? So you probe and you learn. The other thing, and the last thing on that slide is, the person asking questions is in total control. And if you want to guide a conversation, become a really good question asker. So here's the example. I'll be shocked if this doesn't resonate. You're in a class at Trinity. The professor's going on. All of a sudden, the guy in the back. Yes, Henry. I have a question. And then whatever idiotic question comes out of that person's mouth totally derails the conversation, the pace of the lecture, the topic at hand, what the professor is trying to accomplish. Are you with me? Has this ever happened to anyone in this room? That person learned this lesson, but you probably ought to ask questions that take the conversation in a good direction rather than derail the conversation. But it speaks to the fact that the person asking one question from somebody who's hungover from Vernon Street, right, can derail the whole lecture. It's unbelievable what a powerful tool that is. So learn how to ask questions. That's a strong recommendation right there. Sorry, I have to keep walking back here. I like being down there with y'all. Be impatient. How many people have ever heard the saying, patience is a virtue? You know what? Not in my world. Not in my world. Not at all. If I were patient, I think I'd still be in medical school. So impatience is the virtue. Why do I say that? How many people do you talk to? Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's people you know who have a job that they hate. Why would you have a job they hate? There's 50 billion jobs out there. If you hate your job, just try another one. Be impatient. What if you don't? I can give you example after example after example. One of the things that drives me nuts, and this goes back to things they do, is I'm listening to a person week after week after week complain about their boss, or complain about their career path, or complain about their major. And then a few weeks later, I talk to them again, and they're still complaining about the same thing. And all I do is ask one question. What have you done? Oh, I haven't done anything about it. I just want to complain to you some more because you're so fun to complain to. Impatience. Be impatient in business, in life, with your relationships. If you find this growing level of frustration, take action. Do something about it. That's what I've done. It's worked well for me. A little bit of career schizophrenia, but I'm in a good place. It works for me. Be impatient. Impatience is the virtue. I want it now. I'm in a technology field. You'd think I'd have a remote clicker. Change. How many people know that they're change averse? Come on. Oh, please. Half this room is change averse. Suppose I said, we're going to start having classes on Saturday. What would you say? Denise says, So when I said that, did this little indigestion come up? Like, oh God, I have to cut back on the party I'm trying to do a little bit. Suppose I said, in return for that, you get Monday and Tuesday off. Would you go to Saturday class? I sure would. I'd take 2 days during the week when everyone else is working anytime. Get your haircut, get your car work done, have another beer, whatever. So the bottom line is change. Literally, one of the things that if I could give you only one thing coming out of this room, embrace change. Always look for the positive side of change. I guarantee that there are changes that as soon as they come up, you're like, oh God, what are we going to do? Don't do that. Just say, okay, this change looks a little weird, making me a little uncomfortable, but every change brings what? Growth, opportunity, I'm telling you, if you begin to look at change that way, it is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Every change brings opportunity. And if you can get past the angst of the change and start looking for the opportunity that shows up, you'll have fun. You'll be ahead of the game. That's a tough one. You know what's even better than change? Being a change agent. What's a change agent? Well, I'm one. We're called a number of things. We're called visionaries. That's to me sounds a little complimentary. Evangelists. I'm not sure whether that's a compliment or not. Ahead of his or her time. I think that's a very kind way of saying, I have no idea what you're talking about. You must be ahead of your time. One of my favorite quotes, Henry Hartman, success is where preparation meets opportunity. So, as I said at the beginning, the pace of change is accelerating over time. My career path is nothing compared to what your career path is going to look like. Right now, 3 to 5 years, average tenure in a position. By the time you get done, it'll be 18 months. Year and a half. Every year and a half, we'll be doing something different. That's just the way it is. The key is to prepare for that. And when you prepare and then the change comes, that's where the real opportunity exists. So embrace change, and then for a small subset of you, become a change agent. I love this quote. This is literally was just spoken a couple of weeks ago at my kids' school. The high school principal who's going to be the head of the school where my kids go to school in Nashville. And his name is Nate Morrow, super nice guy. And what he said was, technology is like money. It is amoral. Not immoral, it's amoral. It's without morals. Ultimately, it will reflect the character of the owner. Let me give you an example. iPhone 5S. Great product, right? A lot of technology in a small thing, plenty of capability, does this, does that, Siri's in there, I don't know how she fits. Does all kinds of things. The day you get it, if I pick it up and look at it, what do I see? What do I see? I see the same iPhone that's been for sale across the U.S. It's just an iPhone. 6 months after you own it, I pick up your iPhone and I look at your web browsing history. I look at your texts. I look at your emails. I look at where you surfed. I look at what you bought. I look at who you've talked to. I look at what you've researched. Now what do I see? I see a reflection of you. Do I not? Do I not? Is it good? Or is it bad? It's amoral. You can use technology like the power of an iPhone, and I'm an Android guy, as you know, but the iPhone, it's a powerful, powerful device. You can use it for good. You can use it for not so good. It's your choice. The power's in your hand. I mean, this generation right here, and I'm not an old multi-generation guy, even though I'm old. This generation right here has capability that is beyond anything that I had when I was at Trinity. I mean, it's orders of magnitude beyond. And the bottom line is, the world is at your fingertips. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But every minute of every day, you get to choose. You get to choose how you're going to leverage that technology. Whether it's an iPhone or anything else you have access to, you get to choose how you leverage that. You can choose to leverage it for the greater good, mission-based, or you can choose to develop some bad habits. A lot of society, unfortunately, does the latter. So that's what technology does. Technology isn't good or bad, it just speeds things up. At no time in history has an individual in our society had immediate access to the amount of information that we all have access to today. At the same time, at no time in our history has an individual in our society been able to convey information as widely as can be done today. You know what famous person said that? I just made that up. This is key. I mean, think about it. I think this story will be okay. Do you guys know who Martin Sheen is, the actor Martin Sheen? Do you remember the name of the TV show that he used to be on? 2.5 Men. Anybody remember that show? And then he had like a falling out with the producer. And by the way, he was the highest paid television actor at the time ever, because as a result of that show, right? So he was making good money. Had a falling out, and then what happened after that? Anybody remember? Had his falling out, got in a war of words that was very public with the producer of the show. He started his own Twitter account, And 24 hours later, how many followers did he have? 1 million. He had 1 million followers in 24 hours. So anything he said about that producer, Lori, 1 million people got to see immediately. 1 million! That's a lot of people. So, access, conveyance. Again, it's amoral. You can use it either way. You can communicate good stuff, you can communicate challenging stuff. You can hook patients up with doctors, conveniently. This gets into, I think, starts to get us into what I think is the heart of the matter for this group, and that is knowledge, when shared, leads to better results. I had a great conversation with the head of the Watkinson Library on the way here, and the history that is in the Watkinson Library is unbelievable. And I'm a physician, right, a healthcare IT guy, so I don't know very much about what he does, but what I do know is that there's another person just like him in the town that I live in Tennessee. And so what I offered to do was connect the two of them. I have no idea what they're going to talk about. I have no idea what will come of that relationship. But I guarantee that the two of them together will be able to accomplish a whole lot more than each of them have been able to accomplish separately. This saying comes from the DePhillips Trinity, which is a healthcare company, a device company, screensaver. The company put it up on everybody's laptop, so you have no choice. If you computer sleeps, you get to see it. I don't know whether it was brainwashing or what. Oh, I forgot I put this in here. Speaking of technology, who's scared? How many people are familiar with Rate My Professor? It's been around a long time, come on. So there's a couple of interesting things here. So I looked up a couple of people just for kicks. This one happens to be Allison Draper. So Allison, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Overall, you're a 4.9.
Yes, indeed.
That's out of 5. I mean, that's awesome. You're obviously doing so right.
Thank you.
Helpfulness, 4.9. Clarity, 4.9. Then it gets interesting. Easiness, 2.7. It's a compliment, right? It's a compliment. The one that really I was really anxious to meet you for a variety of reasons. But here's the main reason. Hotness. Unrated. I mean, come on. I love that stuff. So now let me this gets a little scary, actually. I'm in technology. I've been in technology for 9 years, and I love technology. It's a blast, and hopefully I'm using it for good things. So guess who the other person was that I looked up on Rate My Professor? My dad. Now, I don't have a slide on that. Do you know why I don't have a slide on that? He's not on there. Now, tell me how a 50-year college professor with thousands of students does not have a presence on Rate My Professor. How is that possible? Yeah, I don't know either.